Hiya guys. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the roadmap that Bethesda released a few days ago. So they're dividing the year into seasons, I guess. Spring, summer, and autumn. And each of these seasons is going to have a themed number of releases. So the first one, spring, is going to be called Wild Appalachia, and it's going to have a corresponding release every couple of weeks or so. So it starts on March the 12th and ends on May the 23rd. And every few weeks between then, there's going to be a new feature or an event or a quest or something like that released. So I'll just run through one by one um, each of the releases that they've described, and I'll add a few comments. So we start on March the 12th with some new brewing and distilling system. Whether this is expanding one of the current workbenches in a camp, or whether it's a whole new workbench or something along those lines, I don't know. I imagine that there's going to be some new recipes and things that go along with it. An interesting start to this new way of doing releases, like a brewing system. But maybe they just had it there to do. Maybe they just had it there to release, so they just wanted to get it out. So I mean, the thing is, I don't actually use recipes that much. I have corn and water, and I make soup, and that's kind of it. But these sorts of things, I suppose, slowly add to the systems of the game over the coming years, if you see what I mean. So each one of them might not absolutely blow everyone away when it's released, but each one also incrementally just refines and improves different parts of the game. So in that respect, yeah, I mean, cool. Why not? It's not something that I'm like massively wanting, but yeah, nice. Why not? So March the 19th brings us the Fastnacht Parade. I guess that's a German word. Um, and I think that parade, or at least that um, event or the festival, has been talked about, hasn't it, in one of the towns um, in the starter kind of zone area. They were talking about Fastnacht. I don't know if it corresponds to a real world event. I'll probably have to check now. But I think if I remember from what was mentioned in the game, it has something to do with robots or something. And looking at the picture there of the event that they've given us, there seem to be sort of robots with funny heads and things as well. So yeah, interesting. This is very much an MMO thing, isn't it? Like, they had like a Halloween event, a festival, and a Christmas one, and um, an Easter one, and all those sorts of things. So again, this feature just slowly fills out the game, doesn't it? But it'd be interesting. I tend to enjoy that kind of thing, and if there's kind of cool outfits or rewards or masks and things, then so much the better. March the 26th brings us the new PvP mode. Um, yeah, so apparently when you log into the game, you can decide if you want to log into a map with this new PvP experience activated, or if you just want to do the normal game as it is today. It says that there are increased rewards and challenges. I don't know if this means that there's something above and beyond what you would already get, or if they are as a consequence of it just being a little bit more of a freer experience there. To be honest, I mean, I don't really PvP much in Fallout 76, and I don't really see that many other people as well. You catch the occasionally wanted person on the map. Um, you see them running around, but in general, everyone just kind of waves. Whether this is going to be the thing that kicks it off, I don't know, but my experiences with PvP in Fallout 76 um, aren't very in depth at the moment. So what's next? Yes, so April the 9th. So it brings two things. So first of all, it brings us player vending. Um, Now that raises a few interesting questions, doesn't it? I think people have been asking for vending machines, and in fact, in a lot of games like MMOs and such, players are always wanting to have vendors for their own stuff, market traders or whatever. But the question, I guess, for me, revolving around playing vending here, is uh, can you give the vendor? I'm assuming it's going to be a machine of some kind. Are they going to be the same ones that you get at some of the railway stations? So like an ammo one and a medical one, and maybe I think there was a mining supplies one, wasn't there? Um, or is it going to be like a vending machine that you can just give whatever you want, and then it'll dispense it to whomever kind of passes and wants it? So I'm not quite sure on that. I think if it's just ammo and stuff, it'll be a lot more limited. I would hope they wouldn't create a new system, a new feature that was so limited. But it does kind of raise another question, doesn't it? Because if your camp isn't in a terribly busy area, then how many people will you have visiting your camp anyway? Um, at the moment, it's not indicated on the map, so it's going to be a little bit of a um, like a chance if someone happens upon your camp and you have a machine and you're selling something they want. So I wouldn't be surprised if you could perhaps um, flick a switch that causes your camp to appear on the map for everyone, so that you can advertise yourself as being a vendor. But even so, yeah, I mean, I guess if I would I go, yes, I probably would if I saw someone's camp on the map, particularly if it was nearby and they were advertising vending, then I would probably go and see what they had, just for interest's sake, really. Even if there wasn't something that I like massively wanted to kind of buy, I'd be interested just to see what they were offering. But there's another thing that kind of limits it, isn't there? Because when you log off, presumably your vendor will log off as well. So, hmm, I guess we'll just have to see. I mean, it's interesting. I'm glad they're adding it, but um, again, I think how it actually pans out will is something that is probably that will only become evident when people start using it. Also on April 9th, there's the series of quests revolving around the cryptids. So these mythical or folklore creatures that inhabit in West Virginia that we bump into. Now, whether this fills in details of some of the existing ones, or whether this fills in details of a new one, I don't quite know. It seems as if there's a little bit of detective work going on in the quests. Just looking at the little picture they've sort of given us. I mean, I really enjoy folklore. I don't know too much of the US folklore, but I enjoy what we have over here in the UK. So yeah, it's cool. Again, it's a bit of a peculiar way of starting off a season, isn't it? Of updates. Like, I don't think it's bad by any means, because like I say, I really enjoy them. Uh, but mm, like like the first season revolving around the cryptids, it just I wouldn't have expected it. I don't know what I would have expected, but I don't know if I would have expected that. I guess probably maybe the vaults opening would probably have been my first guess, but that doesn't seem to be happening till later in the year in some of the other seasons. So, um, hmm. What comes next? So April 16th brings us the new camera. Now, I don't know um, what they're hoping to achieve with that. I don't know whether it's just a first-person way of quickly taking a photograph, like a weapon swap, quickly take a photograph and then swap back kind of thing, rather than having to navigate the menu system. And that's kind of quite a good idea actually, because the camera system is good, but it is a little bit cumbersome if you want to take something in a hurry, I suppose. I mean, it does seem like a little bit small, doesn't it? I guess because the next release won't be till like May the 7th. This is April 16th, and it's a new camera. Hmm. Um, but yeah, again, going along with the theme of just slowly adding to the systems of the game, like why not? Um, what have we got next? May the 7th. So this again is another intriguing thing because it introduces a customizable backpack system, and it sounds a little bit as if it will be relating, or maybe the reward or the consequence of quests revolving around, or at least some sort of storyline revolving around some pioneer scouts, which is which sounds quite interesting. Now, the phrasing is also like customizable backpack system for increased utility. I mean, what does that mean? Does it mean that it's going to just increase your inventory space, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but is it something else? Like, I mean, is it a force field generator, or like a spring with a boxing glove on, or like a mini missile launcher? And probably none of those things. But like, what is this increased utility? Um, I guess or one would hope that there would be definitely aesthetic, visual customization options going on there. But what else will that system offer? It sounds interesting. It sounds intriguing. But again, same with a few of these things. The overview sounds quite interesting, but quite actually what it offers remains to be seen again. And then finally for this season, on May the 23rd, we have the legendary vendor, who looks a little bit like a mole miner, doesn't he? In this picture anyway. So I suppose up until now, all we've done is drop or sell our unwanted legendaries. Um, so I guess this is just offers a way of getting rid of them in some other way, like exchanging them, which is interesting. Like, is it a one-for-one exchange? And it says you can scrap them as well. Like, if you scrap them, what do you get back? Do you get normal or rare resources, or do you get some other new kind of resource? So, for instance, if you scrap one, do you get a token, and then you can use a token to buy a new kind of legendary from the vendor? Or if you scrap one, or maybe you need, like, if you scrap one, you get a token, but a new item will cost 3 tokens. So there's like a three for one exchange rate kind of thing. It's interesting. I suppose it's a new option, rather than just like vendoring it or dropping it. And it gives you some control, doesn't it? Because I don't know about you guys, but legendaries are sort of quite rare anyway, probably as one would expect. But I think I've actually had one that I've found in the whole game that has actually been sort of useful for me, but I can't use it because it's too high level at the moment. So, uh, it would be nice to have a little bit of control over kind of what we're getting. And in some ways, like, even if it isn't a one-to-one system, then I actually, that's still better than just leaving it to chance and getting something you're not going to use, because you don't get much when you vend them anyway. So, when you sell them for caps anyway. So, yes, so that's pretty much it. That's the spring season of releases for Fallout 76. Few quests, a few features, an event and things. Yeah, it looks quite interesting. It's good that they seem to be, investing in slowly filling the world out, and doing things that would be beneficial for people like over the coming months and years. So it makes me feel very, very hopeful for the game, because they're all quite interesting things. Yeah, so okay then. that's all for me. Thank you very much for listening, guys. Let me know if you have any comments, and otherwise have a very lovely day, and I will speak to you soon. Take care. Bye bye.